Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Rapper Glorilla took a minute to tell everyone why she's single. And according to Glorilla, she says that she's single because she ain't got no N-word because she's such a real N-word herself. Now, this entire statement basically proves a point that I made in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and basically proves why she's one of those 70% of black women who are single, because everything about her is extremely unattractive regarding her overall demeanor and regarding her overall character. Now, Glorilla's big problems that keep her single is the fact that she wants to go out here and take on traits of white supremacy that she learned as she was indoctrinated into white feminism, like many black women in the 1960s and 1970s. Now, when it came to many of those black women from the generations before, a lot of them thought that they were going to become just like white women. Unfortunately, what they got were conned by white feminists who basically were not white women. No, when it came to feminists and women, yes, both of them are female, but they all have two different traits. And sadly, with many black women who wanted to fit into white society, they took on the traits of the white feminists, thinking it would make them more attractive like white women, not understanding that the white supremacists basically sold them a bill of goods and had them taking on traits and values that would be detrimental to their culture and detrimental to the overall collective of women. And what happened with all of those women from the 1960s onward is that they took on a culture of feminism, and that culture of feminism wasn't about being a complement to a man like the way God meant for women to be as helpmeets and supports to men. No, when it came to becoming a feminist isn't looking to be a helpmeet to a man, but looking to go out here and look to replace a man in God's order by being the head over the man and be the leader of that man and subjugate him and put him under their control. And that whole set of values is the reason why women who came up under feminism from generation to generation, like Glorilla, wind up single and wind up not being able to have a relationship with a man because basically they think that they can be just like men. Moreover, they want to be in the position of the man, and that leads to any sort of interaction they have with a man not being one where they can have an amicable relationship, but one that's filled with conflict and struggle, and filled with conflict and struggle because they are basically in a power struggle for the role of leader. And that's basically shown by the masculine statement that Glorilla has made by saying that she ain't got no N-word because she's such a real N-word herself. And she makes this statement because she basically is saying that she is so programmed by feminism that she wants to be in the role of the man. And because she wants to be in the role of a man, this is why she cannot find a man to have a relationship with, because no heterosexual man would want to be in a relationship with a woman who basically is masculine to the point where she believes she has to be the dominant one and the one with all the power in the relationship. This is what happens when a woman is indoctrinated into feminism, and I go in depth on this in my book, The Woman Crisis. And definitely when it comes to Glorilla, she definitely is a woman in crisis because she's gotten a complete miseducation as related to her black identity as a black woman. She's gotten a complete miseducation regarding her black female identity, and instead of her looking to be a black woman, she's basically one of these black feminists, and again, a black feminist who basically is not one that could be attracted to heterosexual black men because she wants to be the man herself. And that's why she's one of the 70% of black women who are single, because she basically has taken on a lot of the traits of that white supremacy have put on to black women, and as related to indoctrinating them into feminism, in one, going out here and having them buy into racial stereotypes regarding the black female image, where they look to degrade the black female image by having her take on the traits of racist ideas, like calling yourself a gorilla, because that's what Glorilla is. It's like a feminine trait on the term gorilla, which is what the racists want to see regarding black people, because when the racists go out here, they don't want a black woman to see herself as soft and feminine and beautiful on the level of white women, because white women don't want black to compete with black women in the standard of beauty. No, they want to go out here and degrade the black female image, and that's partially what they did with Glorilla's name. Again, Glorilla's name didn't come from herself. It came from the media arm of white supremacy, which wanted to, again, passively present her as a rapper, but aggressively take a shot at black people by saying, oh, this black woman's going to call herself something akin to a gorilla. And as they did this, they crafted an image around Glorilla, making her into, again, a masculine woman with masculine traits of being extremely aggressive and extremely masculine, because no man is going to go out here and ask and put him and present himself as related, like, to deal with a woman like this. And when she's got these masculine traits that, again, make her appear extremely unattractive to most heterosexual men. And even worse than that, she's got low self-esteem because she's calling herself an N-word, because a woman who calls herself an N-word is basically sending a message to the entire world that she does not see herself as a human being, doesn't see yourself as a human being because you're calling yourself a racial slur. And a woman who's calling herself a racial slur is filled with a lot of self-hatred, because a black woman who loves herself isn't going to say that she's an N-word and, again, degrade herself like that. No, black women who love themselves and have self-esteem about themselves are not going to call themselves a racial slur or call any man that's involved with them a racial slur. No, sisters who love themselves are going to say, I'm out here, I'm single because I'm just out here looking for the right man. But Glorilla comes out here with her low self-esteem and says she ain't got no N-word because she's such a real N-word herself. And that really shows me that this is a woman that any man of character wouldn't want to deal with. No, any man of character wouldn't want to deal with a woman who basically talks like this, because a woman who talks like this, again, has low self-esteem and low self-worth and has no regard for herself to think about how she's presenting herself. And no man who, again, values himself wants that woman on his arm, because the woman that's in his life is a reflection of him, and no guy would want a woman to reflect on him like this, outside of guys who come from single mother households like Pookie and Ray Ray. And Pookie and Ray Ray would basically look at Glorilla as somebody viable for a partnership in a relationship, because guys like Pookie and Ray Ray have absolutely no standards whatsoever, and they would look at this woman who, again, goes out here and takes on the traits of white supremacy as related to making herself out to be the Sapphire a caricature, and go out here and, again, look to be an emasculating image of a woman who wants to degrade the image of black womanhood. They would only accept her because she basically is somebody who they can basically get, because that they have low self-esteem themselves and don't have any sort of standard. So they would want to go get with a woman like this who has gone out here and admitted that she has poor hygiene, and basically, again, not only in addition to the poor hygiene, has no real understanding of how to carry and conduct herself as a woman. That's what's really sad about Glorilla. She's a young woman who basically threw away all of her promise because she got a miseducation due to feminism, and that miseducation basically put her on the road to being this woman in crisis, a woman in crisis who is one of the 70% of black women who are single, one of the 70% of black women who will be single for the rest of her life, because she basically is saying that she's just like a man. And as she says that she's just like a man, most men would really want nothing to do with her outside of Pookie and Ray Ray. And Pookie and Ray Ray basically only want to get with her because of what Hollywood has presented as related to her image, but what she's presenting as related to her own personal image and her personal life is extremely unattractive. I mean, when I see a woman like this, again, saying that she's calling herself an N-word, that's not a woman I want to be involved with, because that woman is showing me that she doesn't love herself. Moreover, if I wanted to, again, get married to this woman or have kids with this woman would be teaching my children a culture of dysfunction, because they would be learning not a culture of black pride, but a culture of white supremacy, because only a person who's a part of white supremacy is going to call themselves an N-word. And again, when it comes to the black woman indoctrinated into feminism, she doesn't understand that feminism is a subsidiary of white supremacy. And while they talk about being powerful women, they ironically give away all their power. They give away all their power to white supremacy, because if you're calling yourself an N-word, then you're basically, again, saying that you are what white supremacy says you are. And that's not a black woman who I would think would be a positive image of black womanhood to the young sisters out here. And this whole statement, again, shows me why Glorilla is someone that is, again, a real problem to me, because if you call yourself an N-word and say you're a real N-word, you basically are showing me that you are a product of white supremacy, because, again, black men and black women, we don't call ourselves N-words. No, that's a racial slur that the white supremacists called us, and a lot of us took that on because during the days of slavery, we didn't have access to education, and because we didn't have access to education, we were using that word as a noun, a pronoun, an adverb, an adjective, and all other contexts of English, because black people, we did not have language, and because we did not have language, you had people using the N-word because that's what the slave master and the overseers and even the slave master's wife called black people. That and all of the profanity they used, that's the only language that was used in the face of black people, and a lot of us have not come out of that and understood that we adopted that language because we got a miseducation from the white supremacists. And sadly, Glorilla basically is passing on the culture of white supremacy and doesn't even know it. That's the whole sad part about Glorilla, is she passes on the culture of white supremacy as related to things. And the reason why many whites find her to be entertaining is because she passes on that culture of white supremacy by going out here and making statements like this. And they find it entertaining that this Sapphire is out here, again, presenting this image of this masculine black woman who emasculates black men. And they find it interesting that she's out, and entertaining that she calls herself an N-word. And again, they do this because they know that this woman is basically breathing brand new life into all of the old stereotypes regarding black women, and further tarnishing the image of black women so that black women won't be out here able to compete with white women as related to the standard of beauty. That's the reason why they push women like Glorilla out here to the forefront. They push them out here as the image of black women, because what they want to do is go out here and control the image of black women and make sure that the image of black women and black beauty never competes with the one of white women. They don't want her to compete with the white woman, and they use her as an image and an icon for black girls so they can go out here and continue following down the road of masculine black women who will put themselves in a last place position in the social marketplace where they won't be able to compete with white women. That's why they push women like Glorilla and Sexy Red and all these other trashy type black women. They push them in their mainstream media because they don't want you to see black women having a sense of pride, a sense of self-esteem and self-worth. They push these women like this, again, who are masculine, and again, this is deliberately done because they don't want black women and black girls to see black beauty and see themselves on the same level of a white woman, or have black men go out here and see a black woman as beautiful and attractive, because they know that if a black woman comes out here, she would beat all of her competition. So they push a Glorilla, again, a woman naming herself after an ape, which is what the white supremacist sees black people as less than human, and has her talking like a person with no education, talking like a slave who, again, before aspired to do better, but it will tell you that that's acting white and tell you that this is black. And again, because many black people are spellbound, they would look to fit themselves in a black box that's acceptable to be white people, like to be a Glorilla, not understanding how they're being disrespected and how sadly this woman is disrespecting herself and putting herself on a road to becoming one of the 70% of black women who will be single for the rest of their lives. Now, if you want to learn how to break out of the paradigm of failure that Glorilla is currently in, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn why so many black women became feminists instead of women, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn about the spellbound mindset that leads to black people fitting themselves in the black boxes that are acceptable to white people, you can also pick up my novel Spellbound at those online booksellers everywhere. And if you want to see me make more videos taking celebrities to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.